Shishira Jai, Shri Govinda Gopinath Maran Mohan Ju Ki Jai, Nitya Lila Pravishtam Vishnupa Rashata Rashata Shishmar, Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Gosai Maharaj Shri Guru Dev Ki Jai, Nitya Lila Pravishtam Vishnupa Rashata Rashata Shishmar, Bhakti Vedanta Vaman Gosai Maharaj Ki Jai, Nitya Lila Pravishtam Vishnupa Rashata Rashata Shishmar, Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Śrīla Prabhupada Ki Jai, Nitya Lila Pravishtam Vishnupa Rashata Rashata Shishmar, Bhakti Pragyan Kiśora Kṛṣṇa Maharaj Ki Jai, Nitya Lila Pravishtam Vishnupa Rashata Rashata Shishmar, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada Ki Jai, Nitya Lila Pravishtam Vishnupa Rashata Rashata Shishmar, Śrīla Kiśora Maharaj Ki Jai, Nitya Lila Pravishtam Śrīla Satchidananda Bhakti Vijñāna Ṭhākura Ki Jai, Nitya Lila Pravishtam Vishnupad Śrīla Vaishnav Sarvabhauma Śrīla Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai, Shri Rupa Nugagoriya Guru Varga Ki Jai. Jai Nitya Lila Pravishtam Vishnupad Rashata Rashata Shishimar Bhakti Vijñāna Bhāratī Gosvāmī Mahārāja Ki Jai.
Jai ho.
Tadiya Shubha Tirova Titi Ki Jai.
Jai ho.
Titi Palan Kari Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai.
Jai ho.
Nitya Lila Pravishtam Vishnupad Shishimad Bhakti Balabhatirtha Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai.
Jai ho.
Nitya Lila Pravishtam Vishnupad Śrīla Bhakti Dait Madhav Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai.
Jai ho.
Swapashad Śrīla Prabhupada Ki Jai.
Jai ho.
Jai. Śrīla Baladevi Jibhushan Prabhu Ki Jai, Śrīla Vishwanath Chakravarti Ṭhākura Ki Jai, Shri Narottam Srinivas Ramananda Prabhu Trai Ki Jai, Śrīla Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami Pad Ki Jai, Shri Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jeev Gopal Bhatta Dasa Gunath Shar Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai, Shri Sarup Damodar Rai Ramanandari Shri Gaur Parshad Vrinda Ki Jai, Namacharya Śrīla Haridāsa Ṭhākura Ki Jai, Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Sorry. Shri Namacharya Śrīla Haridāsa Ṭhākura Ki Jai.
Jai ho.
Tadiya Shubha Tirobhav Titi Ki Jai.
Jai.
Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Shri Kshetra Mandal, Gaura Mandal, Vraja Mandal, Mathura Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai, Sarva Abhishta Pradatta Giriraj Maharaj Ki Jai, Shri Radha Kunda Shama Kunda Ki Jai, Shri Amuna Devi Ganga Devi Ki Jai, Shri Tulsi Maharani Vrinda Devi Ki Jai, Shri Bhakti Devi Ki Jai, Shri Purnamasi Yoga Maya Ki Jai, Shri Gopeshwar Mahadev Ki Jai, Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai, Samagata Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Shri Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Gaur. Śrīla Bhakti Vijñāna Bhāratī Gosvāmī Mahārāja Ki Jai, Namacharya Śrīla Haridāsa Ṭhākura Ki Jai, Shri Tadiya Shubha Tirobhav Titi Ki Jai, Shri Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Gaur.
Hari Hari Bo.
Hari Bo. Hari Bo Kiśora Prabhu. And Champak Didi. And who else is there? Just checking 1 second to see who is. Alright, so we will begin the program with, maybe we can start with singing. We'll sing Jaya Nila Premadhana, Karuna Prachur. Then we can sing for Haridāsa Ṭhākura, we can sing Jaya Jaya Harinam Chirananda Mritadam. And then afterwards, we'll read some, we'll read about Namacharya Śrīla Haridāsa Ṭhākura from Śrīla Bhakti Vijñāna Bhāratī Gosvāmī Mahārāja, whose disappearance day it is today. And then Kiśora Kṛṣṇa Prabhu will offer his Shraddhanjali, his Pushpanjali to his Guru Mahārāja, Śrīla Bhakti Vijñāna Bhāratī Gosvāmī Mahārāja, on this auspicious disappearance day festival of his. Right. Hare Krishna, Krishna Mai Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Alright. Okay, I see on YouTube and Facebook there are a couple people watching, but I don't know who it is until you write a comment, then I can see your name. Alright, so I'm going to share my screen and we will start. J.R. Neil. Okay. I actually went to Śrīla Bhakti Vijñāna Bhāratī Gosvāmī Mahārāja, asking him about the song, how to translate it, because before in the songbook, it said, where has such a venerable personality as Śrī Advaita Acharya gone? And because also Advaita Acharya is referred to as Acharya Ṭhākura, but Śrīnivāsa Acharya is also referred to as Acharya Ṭhākura, and my Gurudev would say that it was Advaita Acharya also. But I put, but Śrīla Bhakti Vijñāna Bhāratī Gosvāmī Mahārāja was saying that Acharya Ṭhākura is referring to Śrīnivāsa Acharya, because Śrīnivāsa Acharya had left before before Narottam Das Thakur, and this is a song that Narottam Das Thakur wrote at the end of his, his pastimes on this planet. So, and so Vaishnavas, pure Vaishnavas, are of different opinions on this, which is very, which is very common that Vaishnavas will have different, But then Śrīla Bhakti Vijñāna Bhāratī Gosvāmī Mahārāja, he mentions that this last line here, Sheshab Shangir Shange Jai Koilo Vilas, which means all the Sheshab Shangir Shange. Shangir is referring to Sangi is like he who associated with Mahaprabhu, this associate of Mahaprabhu. Then Shange, the association of all these people who are with him, where they performed wonderful pastimes, and so Śrīla Bhāratī Mahārāja mentioned that this refers to Śrīnivāsa Acharya. It's referring to the first line here. So yeah, we made this translation under him, under his guidance, for the first and last verse. So he who brought the treasure of prem out of his great compassion, where has such a venerable personality as Sri Śrīnivāsa Acharya gone? Or as my Gurudev says, and other Vaishnavas, where has Acharya Ṭhākura, Advaita Acharya gone? Because in one way also Advaita Acharya, he brought the treasure of prem because he called Mahaprabhu to come here. And so then in that way it's also, you know what I mean? So, okay, where are my Sarup Damodar Goswami and Rupa Goswami? Where is Sanatan Goswami? Where is Raghunath Das Goswami, the savior of fallen souls? Where are my Gopal Bhatta Goswami and Raghunath Bhatta Goswami? Where is Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami? Where has Gauranga, the king of dancers, suddenly gone? I shall dash my head upon a stone, or enter into fire. Oh, where should I go to find Gauranga, the treasure house of all divine qualities? Unable to obtain the association of that Sri Śrīnivāsa Acharya, who performed pastimes with the associates of Mahaprabhu, Narottam Das weeps. Sorry. When I explained it just now, I explained it totally wrong. J is referring to Śrīnivāsa Acharya. J Koilo Vilas, Shangir Shange, he who performed pastimes with Shangir Shange. Shange means with. Shangir means the associates of Mahaprabhu, the Sangigan of Mahaprabhu. Where has he gone? I'm sorry, like that. So, Jai Koilo Vilas, he who performed pastimes. Śrīnivāsa Acharya, who performs pastimes with the associates of Mahaprabhu. because he also Srinivasacharya, he performed, he was okay. Jaya Nilo Prema Dhana Karuna Prachur Jaya Nilo Prema Dhana Karuna Prachur Heno Prabhu Kotha Gela Acharya Ṭhākura Heno Prabhu Kotha Gela Acharya Ṭhākura Kaha Mon Swarup Rupa Kaha Sanatan Kaha Mon Swarup Rupa Kaha Sanatan Kaha Dasara Gunata Patita Pavan Kaha Dasara Gunata Patita Pavan Kaha Mor Bhatta Juga Kaha Kaviraj Kaha Mor Bhatta Juga Kaha Kaviraj Eka Kale Kotha Gela Gora Nataraj Eka Kale Kotha Gela Gora Nataraj Pashane Kuthibo Matha Anale Poshibo Pashane Kuthibo Matha Anale Poshibo Gauranga Gunera Nidhi Kotha Gele Pabo Gauranga Gunera Nidhi Kotha Gele Pabo Sheshava Shangir Shangi Je Koilo Vilas Sheshava Shangir Shangi Je Koilo Vilas Sheshanga Paya Kante Naro Tamadas Sheshanga Paya Kante Naro Tamadas Jaya Nilo Prem Dhana Karuna Prachur Jaya Nilo Prema Dhana Karuna Prachur Eno Prabhu Kotha Gela Acharya Ṭhākura Eno Prabhu Kotha Gela Acharya Prabhu kotha gela Haridāsa Ṭhākura aheno Prabhu kotha gela Śrīla Bhakti Gosvāmī Ṭhākura heno Prabhu kotha gela Śrīla Bhakti Gosvāmī Ṭhākura Jaya Sapashara Jaya Gora Hari Sapashara Jaya Gora Hari Jaya Sapashara Jaya Gora Hari Sapashara Jaya Gora Hari Jaya Haridāsa Ṭhākura Haridāsa Ṭhākura Haridāsa Ṭhākura Haridāsa Jaya Haridāsa Jai Haridāsa Ṭhākura Haridāsa Ṭhākura Haridāsa Jaya Bhakti Vijñāna Śrīla Bhāratī Gosvāmī Bhakti Vijñāna Śrīla Bhāratī Gosvāmī Jai Bhakti Vijñāna Bhāratī Gosvāmī Bhakti Vijñāna Śrīla Bhāratī Gosvāmī. And now we will sing for Haridāsa Ṭhākura in honor of his propagation of the holy name and his being the acharya of the holy name. That would be nice to do a Nam Kirtan for him. So Jaya Jaya Hari Nam Chid Ananda Mritadham. Also at the end of the previous session that I just had, the Japa and Stotram program, we sang Krishna Namashtakam. This song is based on the second verse of Krishna Namashtakam by Srila Rupa Goswami. Okay. All glories to Harinam, the abode of the nectar of divine knowledge and bliss, and the supreme truth in the form of syllables. Out of mercy for his devotees, he descended in his form of his names, and thus showed vast compassion to all the living beings. All glories to the holy names of Hari and Krishna, which are the sublime shelter for the living entities of the world, and which delight the minds of all. Hosts of great sages who have true honor for these names eternally sing them, filling their mouths with Shri Nam. O syllables of Krishna's name, you possess all powers to bestow auspiciousness upon the living beings. Without you, there is no other friends to deliver us from the ocean of material existence. Indeed, you have come to deliver all jivas. You dispel whatever misery afflicts the jiva, if he, feeling himself poor and insignificant, and seeing no other remedy, calls out your name one time, even out of impulse. If one obtains even a momentary vision of you, then all sorts of terrible miseries disappear, and one's gross and subtle bodies are easily destroyed. Bhakti Vinod says, all glories to the holy names of Shri Hari. I prostrate myself in hopes of attaining your lotus feet. Maybe we can sing I'll just go to the Krishna Namashtakam so that we can see the verse that this is based on. Ajaya Nama Deya Muni Vrinda Geya Jana Ranjanaya Paramakshara Krite Tvamanadara Pimana Gudiritam Nikhilo Gratapa Patalim Vilum Pasi. O Harinam, you who are sung by the sages, O you who assumes the form of the best of syllables to give great happiness to the devotees, all glories to you. May your supremacy always be manifest. If you are spoken only once, even disrespectfully or in jest, You absolve all of one's frightful sins at the root. Actually, I remember Śrīla Bhakti Vijñāna Bhāratī Gosvāmī Mahārāja. He explains this word heya in a different way. Oh no, but here it says anadarad. Oh, that was a different verse. That was the verse about namabhas. But here it actually says anadarad, which means disrespectfully. Okay. I was getting mixed up with something else. Oops. Okay. So. Jaya Jaya Hare Nam Chiranandamrita Dham Jaya Jaya Hare Nam Chiranandamrita Dham Aparatattva Akharayakara Paratattva Aksharayakara Nija Jane Kripa Kori O Nama Rupe Jane Kripa Kori Anama Rupe Avatari Jive Daya Korile Apar Jive Daya Korile Apar Jaya Hari Krishna Nam Jagajana Suveshram O Jaya Hari Krishna Nam Jagajana Suveshram O Sarvajana Manasa Ranjana Sarvajana Manasa Ranjana Muni Vrinda Nirantar Jena Mera Samadar Vrinda Nirantar Jena Mera Samadar Kori Gai Bhori Avadana Kori Gai Bhori Avadana Krishna Namakhar Tumi Sarva Shaktidhar O He Krishna Namakhar Tumi Sarva Shaktidhar Jivera Kalyana Vitarane Jivera Kalyana Vitarane Toma Bina Bhava Sindhu Udarite Nahi Bandhu Toma Bina Bhava Sindhu Udarite Nahi Bandhu Ashiacho Jiva Udharane Ashiacho Jiva Udharane Ajiver Kalyana Vitarane Ajiver Kalyana Vitarane Yache tap jive jato tumi sab koro hata Ache tap jive jato tumi sab koro hata He lai tumhare ek baar যদি কোনো জন হইতে নয় কিঞ্চন, তাকে যদি কোন জন হইতে নয় কিঞ্চন, নাহি দেখি অন্য প্রতিকার, নাহি দেখি অন্য প্রতিকার। তব স্বল্প স্ফূর্তি পায় উগ্রতাপ দূরে যায়, তব স্বল্প স্ফূর্তি পায় উগ্রতাপ দূরে যায়। তব স্বল্প স্ফূর্তি পায় উগ্রতাপ দূরে যায়, তব স্বল্প স্ফূর্তি পায় উগ্রতাপ দূরে যায়। লিঙ্গ ভঙ্গ হয় অনায়াসে, লিঙ্গ ভঙ্গ হয় অনায়াসে। ও ভক্তি বিনোদ কয়, ও জয় হরি নাম জয়, ভক্তি বিনোদ কয়, ও জয় হরি নাম জয়। পড়ে থাকি তুয়া পদয়াসে, পড়ে থাকি তুয়া পদয়াসে। ও ভক্তি বিনোদ কয়, জয় হরি নাম জয়, ভক্তি বিনোদ কয়, জয় হরি নাম জয়। পড়ে থাকি তুয়া পদয়াসে, পড়ে থাকি তুয়া পদয়াসে। Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Ram. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. এবার মোরে দয়া করো, এবার মোরে দয়া করো, ঠাকুর শ্রীলা হরিদাসা, এবার মোরে করো দয়া, ঠাকুর শ্রীলা হরিদাসা, এবার মোরে দয়া করো। কৃষ্ণ নামে রুচি দিয়া, এবার মোরে দয়া করো, কৃষ্ণ নামে রুচি দিয়া, এবার মোরে করো দয়া। শুদ্ধ নামে রুচি দিয়া, এবার মোরে করো দয়া, শুদ্ধ নামে রুচি দিয়া, এবার মোরে দয়া করো। Shri Harinam Prabhu ki jai, Śrīla Haridāsa Ṭhākura ki jai, Śrīla Rupa Gosvāmī's Krishna Namashtaka ki jai, Śrīla Bhakti Vijñāna Ṭhākura ki jai. Alright. Jai Śrīla Bhakti Vijñāna Bhāratī Gosvāmī Mahārāja ki jai. So we're going to begin by reading Śrīla Bhakti Vijñāna Bhāratī Gosvāmī Mahārāja's glorification of Śrīla Haridāsa Ṭhākura. And really, out of all acharyas, I've never gotten so strongly from anybody this emphasis on we have to honor these days that come to us. All these, it's when, like, these different holy days throughout the year of the different titis of Vaishnavas, and they come to us. They come to us in the year, and if you neglect them, if one of the Vaishnava aparads is, if Vaishnav comes to you and nabhinandanti, if you do not offer him pranam, you don't give him honor, and if you ignore him, that is Vaishnava aparad. So when these personalities come to us on their titis throughout the year, if we neglect to glorify them and we don't give honor to them, we don't pray to them, honor them on their holy days when they come to us, then that Śrīla Bhakti Vijñāna Bhāratī Gosvāmī Mahārāja would say, this is aparad. It's not just, you missed out, but you're actually making an offense to that personality because they came to you and you just disregarded them, completely ignored them. So he would mention that point over and over and over again. And he'd always give such amazing glorifications for so many personalities I've never even heard of before. And so that's one thing. I've noticed that all the devotees, all my friends, and all the disciples of Śrīla Bhakti Vijñāna Bhāratī, anybody who came to him, they got this really pounded into them that they have to honor these days. And I've seen it, it's made a very significant impact. It had a very deep impact on everybody. And you see now everybody who is follows him, they really they'll give some time to these personalities on their days when before maybe they weren't. So that was a really impactful contribution of his, and also his emphasis on Vaishnav Seva. So and honoring all. Anyways, so we'll read this. Let's see. It's probably on vcvani.com. Oh, and Haribol, Nri Hari Prabhu, and Bhavatarani Mataji, and Govinda Saha, and Ganga Mataji, and Raseshwari Mataji. Haribol, everybody. Okay, so let's go to vcvani.com. vcvani.com. And if you're not already subscribed to this mailing list, I highly recommend you do so. Then for every single day throughout the year, join our mailing list. For all the different holy days of so many different associates of Śrīla Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Ṭhākura that we've never even heard of, and for all their appearance days and disappearance days, and all different associates of Mahaprabhu, and for this every titi you'll get his Harikatha in your inbox the day before the titi. Okay, so Haridāsa Ṭhākura Tirobhav. I'm going to paste this onto a Word doc so that you can see it more nicely. Wow, this is a long Harikatha. Okay. Let's see. I didn't realize the Haridāsa Ṭhākura one was so long. I probably would have not sung the Jai Jai Harinam at the beginning. Anyhow. One second. Just waiting for this to paste. Okay, let's change the font color. Yeah. Okay. So The following is an excerpt of a Bhav Anuvad of a discourse by Śrīla Bhakti Vijñāna Bhāratī Gosvāmī Mahārāja on September 3rd, 2009. Two opinions. This is Śrīla Haridāsa Ṭhākura at Siddhabakul, I'm pretty sure. Okay. Today is a special titi. I remember Śrīla Bhāratī Mahārāja, most of his classes would start off, Aaj ek vishesh titi hai. And it'd always be, yeah. Today is a special titi, the disappearance day of Namacharya Śrīla Haridāsa Ṭhākura. There are two prominent opinions prevalent with regards to Namacharya Śrīla Haridāsa Ṭhākura. The first opinion is that Rishika Muni's son, Mahatapa Brahma, who had appeared during the time of Prahlad in Satya Yuga, has now come as Śrīla Haridāsa Ṭhākura. In his earlier life, Mahatapa Brahma had collected tulsi leaves and offered them in the service of Bhagavan without first washing them. Thus, he had to take birth as a Yavan in his next life. The second opinion is that during Dwapara Yuga, when Sri Nandanandan Krishna was cowherding with his cowherd boys, Brahma desired to test him, thinking, "Only foolish people address him as a supreme lord." Considering him merely the son of a cowherding dynasty, Lord Brahma questioned, "How can he be the supreme lord?" So Brahma stole the calves Krishna was herding along with the cowherd boys and hid them in a cave within the within the Sumeru mountains. After 1 year lapsed, Brahma came back to check on Krishna. To his astonishment, he found Krishna along with his cowherd friends happily herding the cows in the forest as usual. When he immediately returned to check the cave where he had hidden them, he also found the cowherd boys asleep there. So where did the other set come from? The bewilderment of Brahma. It took no time for Bhagavan Shri Krishna to realize that Brahma stole the calves and the cowherd boys. But for the sake of Leela, he acted very anxious and wandered here and there in search of his lost friends and calves. Seeing him act in this way, Brahma became very happy in his mind. But as soon as he turned around, Krishna expanded himself in as many cowherd boys and calves as were missing, and returned home. Amazingly, no gopi or cow realized that their child had not returned home. But what changes had occurred? Previously, the gopis had more love for Krishna than their own children. But now they found no difference in their love for Krishna and their own children, because their children are Krishna. It was equal. So they feared that they were entrapped. By Maya because of their deep feelings of attachment for their children. Regardless, during that 1 year period, nobody could recognize what changes had occurred. This is because Krishna had assumed the forms so perfectly, replicating the voices, the bodily odors, even replicated the bodily odors, and even their pranks and plays were so very like his original companions. The cows recognized their young ones by smell, but they also could not recognize that Krishna had become their calves. It is observed that cows have natural love for their younger calves. But now they are feeling more love for the elder calves than the younger ones, because Krishna himself had assumed the form of the older calves. No one could distinguish. So perfect were the changes. When Brahma came and saw this happening, he was dumbstruck. To bestow mercy on Brahma, Krishna transformed all the cowherd boys and the calves into their four-handed Narayan forms. Brahma saw uncountable Narayan Murtis, and then he had the realization that Krishna was the original. He was the Mool Karan, the original cause of all. What Krishna's form connotes. At that point, Brahma offered the prayers which are found in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 14. No mirdate brava pushe tare ramparaya gunjavatangsa paripichala sanmukhaya vanyasraje kavala vetra vishana venu Lakshma Shriye Mridupade Pashupangajaya. O Lord, you are fit to receive the worship of the entire universe. O son of the king of cowherds, your transcendental body is dark blue like a new cloud. Your garment is brilliant like lightning, and the beauty of your face is enhanced by your gunja earrings and the peacock feather on your head. Wearing garlands of various forest flowers and leaves, and equipped with a herding stick, a buffalo horn, a flute, and a morsel of grain mixed with yogurt in your hand, you are most attractive. Your lotus feet are very soft. I offer my prayers unto you. You are Pashupangajaya. Pashupa is Nanda Maharaj, and you are his son. Your complexion is Abra Vapushe, like a dark rain cloud, and your garment is Tarid Ambaraya, brilliant like lightning. What is the meaning? Like in the hot summer, when the world is suffering due to severe heat and lack of rains, as soon as clouds are seen in the sky, the heart rejoices in the hope that the rains are not far away. So your complexion is an indication of your compassion, and your pitambar, your yellow color, and your pitambar yellow color garments, brilliantly shining like lightning, gives the assurance that very soon rains will shower on us, because whenever lightning accompanies the clouds, it is indicative that if it is raining already, it will certainly increase. Or if it hasn't rained yet, then very shortly it will begin to pour. So such is your merciful form. Beautiful. I've never heard that explanation before. How to reconcile. Brahma, seeing Krishna holding a mixture of rice and yogurt in his left hand, and standing and eating, disregarding this very form as ordinary, thinking that this is not in conformity with the Vedas, eating with the left hand, assuming if indeed he were the Supreme Lord, he would surely possess knowledge of the Vedas. Now that very Brahma is singing his glories. Therefore, it is very difficult to understand the scriptures, which is why they are to be studied under proper guidance from personalities who have realized the knowledge of the scriptures, those people who are Shastra Vid. Otherwise, one will not be able to reconcile the contradictions of the scriptures. On one hand, it is said, if something is purchased from the market... Sorry, let me my mind's a little bit distracted. 1 second. Give me 1 second, guys. I just need to write a message. Okay. Sorry, let me share my screen again. Okay. Let me reread this. Okay, so now that very Brahma is singing his glories. Therefore, it is not very difficult to understand the scriptures, which is why they are to be studied under proper guidance from personalities who have realized the knowledge of the scriptures. Otherwise, one will not be able to reconcile the contradictions of the scriptures. On one hand, it is said, if something is purchased from the market, and after using a portion of it for oneself, if the remaining part is offered to Bhagavan, it amounts to an offense. It is also mentioned, upon having darshan of the deity form of Bhagavan, if one does not instantly offer obeisances, it amounts to an offense. So how will one be able to reconcile how the companions of Bhagavan Sri Krishna, the Sakas, do not offer him obeisances, but rather they climb onto his shoulders when he is defeated in the sports, and they offer him food which they have already tasted, they give him his remnants. Are these not offenses? How will we reconcile this? There is an instance in Srimad Bhagavatam when Tvashta Rishi performed a yajna in which during his utterances of the mantras, some differences arose. Where he should have pronounced in short, he uttered it longer, and vice versa. When he was... Sorry guys, I can't... 1 second. I'm gonna be back in just 1 second. Just give me 1 minute. Sorry about that. Okay. 1 second. Let me... Okay. So there is an instance in Srimad... I'm just going to reread this. There is an instance in Srimad Bhagavatam when Tvashta Rishi performed a yajna in which during his utterances of the mantras, some differences arose. Where he should have pronounced in short, he uttered it longer, and vice versa. When he was to speak Indra Shatro Vivardhasva, he said the same exact words, but without giving proper emphasis on the words. He said, Shatro Vivardhasva. I don't know where he gave the emphasis because there's no diacritics. Okay, so it wasn't even that he mispronounced it, but he just, like when you say mantras, certain parts you should elongate. I think it was even the intonation was a bit wrong. And so then by doing so, the result was opposite of the intended purpose. In another place in scriptures it is said, even if one utters the words Mara Mara, one will be benefited with the fruits of uttering Rama Nam. Mara means to kill, kill. But if you say Mara Ram, then it becomes Ram. Where is the reconciliation, as both are the verdicts of the scriptures? The difference is that one has been written for the purposes of karma kanda, or service performed to Bhagavan with some ulterior motive, and the other has been revealed for the purpose of performing bhakti. Externally, there is no apparent difference in the activities performed on the platform of bhakti and karma, but the difference is in the ultimate intention, or the goal. Indra performed Vamandev's worship very opulently and served him well, but despite this, Indra had to suffer the sin of Brahma Hatya when he killed Vritrasura. On the other hand, Hanuman did not have to suffer when he burnt Lanka, killing so many, including brahmanas, women, even pregnant women and cows. So how can you reconcile this? Therefore, it is said that one must study the scriptures under the guidance of devotees. The glories of Bhagavan and Vaishnavas are not limited by circumstances. After realizing his mistake, Brahma sought forgiveness for his offense to Krishna. As a matter of retribution, in Kali Yuga, Brahma had come to this material world in a Yavan caste, because that same Krishna descended on this earth assuming the bodily luster and mood of Srimati Radharani in the most munificent form as Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu. Feeling apprehensive that he might again offend Bhagavan in this incarnation, Brahma performed penance in Antardvip. Understanding his internal mood of prayer, Sri Krishna gave him darshan in the form of Gauranga, and informed him that during the time of Gaur Lila, he would take birth in the Yavan caste, and his name would be Haridas, and he would bring auspiciousness to all living beings. He prayed for this arrangement of taking a low birth, so that false ego or pride would not induce him to make another offense at the lotus feet of Gauranga. Bhagavan or Vaishnavas can take birth in any caste, and despite this, their glories and importance are not tainted in any manner. Thus, he appeared in the village of Buran, in the Satkira subdivision of Khulna in Bangladesh. Some are of the opinion that the place lies in the district known as Chobis Pargana, while others say that it is in the Jeshore district in Bangladesh, and some others say it is in the Khulna district. This is because of the repeated changes in the partitions of the lands. He is 35 years older than Mahaprabhu, and 23 years older than Nityananda Prabhu. Wow, he is a lot older than Mahaprabhu, 35 years older than Mahaprabhu, and 23 years older than Nityananda. Wow. The impact of hearing Shuddha Nam. Śrīla Haridāsa Ṭhākura used to chant the holy names and also preach the glories of the holy name, and for this reason, all people greatly respected him. Once a jealous landlord named Ramachandra Khan engaged a famous prostitute by the name of Lakshahira to spoil Haridāsa Ṭhākura's character. She was very beautiful, young, and she claims that she could accomplish the task within 3 days. Ramachandra Khan wanted to send police along with her in order to expose Haridāsa Ṭhākura immediately, but she refused, saying she said to wait till she first associated with Haridāsa. Haridāsa Ṭhākura lived in a hut, and he served Tulsi Devi by performing parikrama, watering her, and offering a lamp, and then chanting the holy names. He would chant more than 3 lakh of names in a day, and thus 1 crore in a month. Lakshahira went there and tried to attract him by her expressions and gestures, but Haridāsa was unmoved. He was nirvikar. He also spoke convincingly to her, assuring, "After chanting a fixed number of rounds of the holy name, I will fulfill your desire." Therefore she sat there, waiting and listening to Harinam, not with good intentions, on the contrary, only fueled by her bad motives. Even so, her listening worked like medicine. As the day broke, she became impatient to leave. Haridāsa said, "Oh, please excuse me, I could not complete my rounds. But I am sure I will be able to complete them tomorrow." So the next day again she returned, first offering pranams to Tulsi Devi and Haridāsa Ṭhākura, and then taking a seat. He continued his chanting of the holy name, and another night passed. Haridāsa said, "Oh, do not feel unhappy because today I could not complete my rounds. I will definitely finish my rounds tomorrow." She came on the 3rd day too, and after hearing Nam continuously, she was transformed. She admitted the truth to Haridāsa Ṭhākura that Ramachandra Khan had sent her to him with the intention to spoil his character. Then Haridāsa Ṭhākura told her, "I knew beforehand. I remained here only to bring about auspiciousness for you." Haridāsa Ṭhākura instructed her to reside in that hut where she could perform Tulsi Parikrama and chant Harinam. He gave the same teachings to her as he was practicing, that is, to chant so many rounds, and afterwards he left that place. And here's a picture of, there's Haridāsa Ṭhākura leaving, and there's Lakshahira, the transformed Lakshahira, chanting before Tulsi Devi. Nice picture, huh? Ramachandra Khan had committed Vaishnava Aparad by attempting to spoil the life of Haridāsa Ṭhākura. Even though Haridāsa Ṭhākura did not take offense, the penalty was that the Muslim ruler's men came and plundered his house. They cooked and ate non-vegetarian food in the place where he performs Devi Puja, disgracing his sacred space. Additionally, they arrested all the members of his family, looted their wealth, and left. It was such an uncanny instance. Vaishnavas do not accept contaminated wealth. Meanwhile, that prostitute became a great Vaishnavi. Many advanced Vaishnavas would go to meet her. She was also instructed to donate all her wealth to the Brahmanas. She could have offered it all to her guru, but in this regard, our Param Gurudev, Śrīla Bhakti Saraswati Prabhupada, explained, if the Vaishnavas did not first accept it, she was to offer it to the Brahmanas in charity. This is the rule. Hare Krishna Shubhanand Prabhu. The dire consequence of Vaishnava Aparad. From there, Haridāsa Ṭhākura came to the Hooghly district to a place known as Saptagram. A big religious assembly was being held there, and Haridāsa Ṭhākura desired to listen. Many Karmi and Gyani scholars deliberated on the glories of Harinam, quoting that it destroys all sins and so on. Realizing that the discussions were headed in the opposite direction, Haridāsa Ṭhākura stood up and presented that the real fruit of chanting the holy name is not liberation from the material world. He explains such a goal could be accomplished by the mere reflection of Harinam, just by namabhas. You can be liberated from the material world. Arinda, also known as Gopal Chakravarti, he was a person who used to perform financial dealings for very rich persons. He stood up under the influence of his status, and he stood up under the influence of his status, and he retorted, "These are the statements of a sentimentalist or a mad person. People endeavor so much to attain liberation, and this man says that liberation is possible by a mere namabhas, or in other words, just by the glimpse of the holy name? If it does not happen, then his nose will have to be cut off." Haridāsa Ṭhākura replied, "Why are you arguing? It is not my opinion. These are the words of the scriptures that I have heard and presented." These are the words of the scriptures that I have heard and presented. That man insisted, "If this is untrue, then your nose will be cut." But Haridāsa Ṭhākura was not upset. However, Hiranya and Govardhan Majumdar, under whom the tax collector Arinda was working, felt this was an offense to Haridāsa Ṭhākura because their spiritual teachers, Balaramacharya and Yadunandanacharya, were acquainted with Haridāsa Ṭhākura, and they used to visit him. So they immediately, Hiranya and Govardhan Majumdar immediately dismissed Arinda from his work, and 3 days later he contracted leprosy, and his nose melted off. People at the assembly glorified Haridāsa Ṭhākura's spiritual powers, but Haridāsa Ṭhākura at once left the place. The snake gave way. He went to Pulia, and there also one strange incident occurred. As he was living in a cave there, a snake charmer informed him of a poisonous snake in the cave. The snake charmer could identify the snake just by the odor of its body. Snake charmers possess a special knack for knowing about the snake's presence by the smell itself. This is not just hearsay, I have personally witnessed it too. Once in our Mayapur Mat also, a snake charmer detected the scent of a poisonous snake there. Then, by playing on his pipe, he captured the snake and put it in his basket. Then he said, "There's another," and he asked his companions whether there was place for it in the basket. The snake Then he said there is another, and his companions. He asked if there's another, and he asked his companions whether there is a place for it in the basket. The snake charmer explains the next snake was not very poisonous. Then he caught it also and put it in his basket. Just from the smell, he could identify the presence of a poisonous snake. Haridāsa Ṭhākura said, I do not feel its presence. But the people who came to have darshan of Haridāsa Ṭhākura and hear his Harikatha, they knew about the snake. So Haridāsa Ṭhākura said, "If indeed there is a snake, then I will leave this place in 3 days and go elsewhere." After saying this, a snake appeared from the cave, thinking, "I was residing here to I'm not going to speak in a snake voice. I'm not going to try it. I was residing here to hear Harinam from him, but for my sake he has to leave the place." So in this way, the snake removed himself from the cave. And I remember reading in, I think it's Chaitanya Bhagavat, it gives a description of the snake. It was a very beautiful snake. It had a jewel in its head, and it was very interesting colors. It was like orange, white, blue, and something else. Yeah. Then he came to Shantipur to reside. There he used to meet with Advaita Acharya often. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared, Advaita Acharya felt great ecstasy in his heart, and Haridas also felt great jubilation. They realized that there must be some reason for their happiness. Otherwise, why would they feel such great joy? But they were unable to understand the reason. Later, they got the news that a son had been born to Advaita Acharya's friend, Jagannath Mishra. Along with his wife, Advaita Acharya went to congratulate him. He offered varieties of gifts, like people normally give on such occasions, and Shachi Devi worshipped him by offering clothes, etc., as per Vedic injunctions. Mercy on the perpetrators. perpetrators. Sorry. Because Haridāsa Ṭhākura was chanting the holy names, he was warned by the Yavan administrators. You have to give up chanting the holy name, otherwise you'll be severely punished with beatings. You'll be severely punished with beatings by cane until death in 22 marketplaces. Sorry. You'll be punished with beatings by cane until death in 22 marketplaces. Not in one marketplace, but in 22 marketplaces, as it was a big town, in order to give the public the message. In spite of taking birth in a pure Yavan family, he has accepted the dharma of the kafirs and is performing Harinam. And this is the punishment one has to face for such a sin. Why was Haridāsa not unhappy about the punishment meted out to him? He was grateful. He thought, I associated with the enemies of cows and brahmanas, and so compared to this great sin, this punishment is very less. I should have been subjected to more severe punishment. When he was asked to give up chanting of the names, he said, even if my body is cut to pieces and life may leave it, still I can never abandon the chanting of the holy name. So he was given this punishment, but he did not die. Some people begged the soldiers, please don't beat him like this. We will give you money if you beat him with less force. But the men had instructions to beat him to death. Finally, they told Haridāsa Ṭhākura, if you do not die, then our lives will be taken away. Then Haridāsa Ṭhākura performed the pastime of falling unconscious, making it appear as though his life airs had left his body. Thinking that his body is not fit for burial, which for Muslims is very auspicious, or even burning, he was thrown into the Ganga, which to Muslims they consider that really inauspicious. Then he floated to the other shore of the Ganga, that is, to Shantipur, and again started performing Harinam. When the soldiers saw him chanting and walking away on the other shore, they became afraid of him and realized that he was a living saint and sought his forgiveness. The cost of imitation. One second, just making sure everything's running okay. Oops. Okay. Oh, and Hari Bol Sudevi Didi and Vidya Lalasa Didi. Hare Krishna. Okay. One day, a snake charmer was singing Krishna's pastimes and was making the snake dance to his tunes. Hearing the Krishna Lila Kirtans, ecstatic symptoms of love for Krishna arose in the heart of Haridāsa Ṭhākura, and he was overwhelmed with love for Krishna. Seeing this, one deceitful Brahman also began to imitate such symptoms, which in turn enraged the snake charmer, who went and hit the man with his cane. The people were astonished. He did not say anything to Haridāsa Ṭhākura, but he did not say anything to Haridāsa Ṭhākura, but he beats the fake Brahman black and blue, because the snake's mood, Avish, had entered into him. Yes, the snake charmer was controlled by the mood of the snake, who was Ananta Shesh also, right? I think I remember reading something about that. Okay. Commands to preach. Our devotee of Ananta Shesh. I have to look that up. Commands to preach. Later, Chaitanya Dev ordered Haridāsa Ṭhākura and Nityananda, Shuno Shuno Nityananda, Shuno Haridāsa, Sarvatra Amar Agya Koroho Prakash, Prati Ghare Ghare Giya Koro E Bikha, Bolo Krishna Bhajo Krishna, Koro Krishna Shikha. Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat, Madhya Kanda, chapter 13, verses 8 to 9. Listen, listen, Nityananda. Listen, Haridāsa. Make my commands known everywhere. Go from house to house and beg from all the residents. Please chant Krishna's name, worship Krishna, and teach others to follow Krishna's instructions. 3 drunkards. Haridāsa Ṭhākura was robust, well-built, stout, and also 23 years older than Nityananda Prabhu. As they preached all over the place, the devotees welcomed them, and the atheists attacked them. When Jagai and Madhai attacked, Nityananda Prabhu could run away swiftly, but Haridāsa Ṭhākura experienced great difficulty and became unhappy, because he was a bit more fat, so he couldn't run so fast. When they returned the next day, they were again confronted by Jagai and Madhai. "Yesterday we chased you away, and again you've come back speaking the same words?" When Jagai and Madhai attacked again, Haridāsa Ṭhākura struggled to escape. Afterwards, Haridāsa Ṭhākura complained to Advaita Acharya, with whom he had an old friendship. I will not go along with this Avadut. He can jump high and run fast, but I cannot. He is very fickle." Then Advaita Acharya foretold, "Today you saw 2 drunkards. Tomorrow you will witness 3 drunkards dancing together." Thus he prophesied the future happenings, as when they returned on the 3rd day, Madhai suddenly struck Nityananda on the forehead with a broken mud pot. Still, Nityananda spoke to him. "Just because you have hit me on the head, do you think I will not give you prem? Surely I will give you." Then the devotees uttered in shock, "Alas, alas! What a mercy!" Between the two, Jagai begged, "Madhai, stop hitting. There has never been such a compassionate donor, and there will never be one in the future." Saying thus, he stopped Madhai. The great commotion attracted Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to appear there. He thus summoned his chakra, his Sudarshan chakra, in order to finish Madhai. Wow, I've never heard that slant on that. That's really nice. The first preaching encounter. Oh, I've never seen that picture either. Okay. Nityananda Prabhu had previously questioned Haridāsa Ṭhākura. Am I fickle, or is your Prabhu chanchal? Is your Prabhu fickle? He gives orders like a king, instructing us to go and give the message to all. And if we do not follow his orders, we will be committing a fault. But how can I be fickle? I think your Prabhu is fickle. But to understand such words is not easy. Both are singing the glories of each other, but in Vyaktirek Bhav, that is, in an indirect manner. This is called Vyadha Stuti, indirect glorification. Yeah, it seems like a criticism, but it's actually a glorification. Vyadha Stuti, sorry. Immediately, Nityananda Prabhu stopped Mahaprabhu. "If you have affection and love for me, then I beg you for his..." Nityananda Prabhu stopped Mahaprabhu and said, "If you have love and affection for me, then I beg you for his life." Mahaprabhu said, "Jagai has stopped Madhai from further violence, so I bestow mercy upon him, but not Madhai." Both are offenders, Nityananda Prabhu pointed out, so why should there be any disparity in bestowing mercy? Then Mahaprabhu said to Jagai and Madhai, "If you will promise that you will not repeat such an offense again, I can pardon you. Otherwise, I will finish you." Then they touched their ears with both hands and said, "Never again." This is the role of Haridas and Nityananda in Mahaprabhu's first preaching pastime. I am not qualified. Later, after accepting sannyas, Mahaprabhu left along with Nityananda, Jagadananda, Damodar, and Mukunda. At that time, Haridāsa Ṭhākura prayed to Jagannath Dev and pleaded for permission to follow along. Later, when all the devotees visited Mahaprabhu in Jagannath Puri, they offered their pranams to Mahaprabhu in the Gambhira at Radhakanta Mat, but Haridas was not to be seen. That time, Mahaprabhu asked, "Kahan mor Haridas? Where is my Haridas?" Haridāsa was on the road offering Dandavat pranams to Mahaprabhu from very far. He said, "I am a malecha. I do not have the qualification to go near Mahaprabhu." He never went near the Jagannath Mandir. When the devotees made arrangements for Mahaprabhu's stay, they decided to host him at Rajguru Kashi Mishra's place, which had a big garden and 2 rooms on either side. Mahaprabhu accepted only on the condition that he reside in one of those rooms called the Gambhīra. Gambhīra is like, what do you call it? Anyways, it's a, what do you call it? Like a storeroom? No, but it's a, forgot the exact word. But, yeah. Anyways, a very small room that you store things in. Siddha Bakul. Mahaprabhu requested a room in a secluded place for Haridāsa Ṭhākura in Puri, and presented that place to Haridāsa when he arrived. Previously, it was secluded, but now you must wind through many houses to reach there, causing it to seem further than it actually is. Haridāsa stayed there and chanted the holy names. Whenever Rupa and Sanatan came to Jagannath Puri, they stayed with Haridāsa Ṭhākura. These two brothers also would not go to the Jagannath Mandir. And not only would they not go to the Jagannath Mandir, they wouldn't go even near the vicinity of the temple. Their thinking was that the servitors of Jagannath will be busily running around in that place for the service of the Lord, and it would be an offense if by chance their bodies should touch yavanas like them, making the servitors impure and thus unfit for the Lord's service. That's why I can't understand when devotees complain about not going and being able to go inside Jagannath Mandir. Rupa and Sanatan were even born in Brahmin families. They were Brahmanas by birth, but even they didn't even go near to Jagannath Mandir, and we're trying to follow Rupa and Sanatan. So why should we complain? We should be happy that we can follow. We have a chance to follow in their footsteps. Anyways, sorry, off topic. Once in the location of Haridāsa Ṭhākura's residence, Mahaprabhu planted a twig of the bakula tree, the brushing twig, the toothbrush used in Jagannath's service, the twig used for brushing the teeth. And that twig instantly grew into a tree. Thus, Mahaprabhu made arrangements so that they could all sit underneath the shade of the tree and chant Harinam peacefully. Haridāsa Ṭhākura lived in a hut and would daily sit under the shade of that bakula tree and chant Harinam. The place is now famous as Siddha Bakul. Mahaprabhu made arrangements for their prasad as well, and his servant Govinda would go daily to fetch prasadam for them. Sweetness of the holy name. One day, as usual, Govinda brought Mahaprasad, but Haridāsa said, "You have brought Mahaprasad, but I won't be able to take it. But I cannot dishonor the Mahaprasad either." So he offered pranams to the Mahaprasad and took very little in his mouth. Govinda went and informed Chaitanya Dev of this. He said, I won't be able to take it because he hadn't finished a certain amount of Harinam. He would only take anything after completing a certain amount of Harinam. But also, when Jagannath Mahaprasad, especially when it comes, you can't neglect it. So then he took it. So Govinda went and informed Chaitanya Dev of this. Mahaprabhu came immediately to Haridāsa and asked, "What is your ailment? Why didn't you accept Mahaprasad? Haridāsa responded, "Prabhu, my body is fine, but my mind and intelligence are sick. I am not able to maintain my fixed number of rounds of Harinam, meaning I am not able to complete my 3 lakhs of names every day." Mahaprabhu told him, "Now you are in Siddha Avastha, you have reached the stage of perfection, so you can reduce the number of fixed rounds." But he did not reduce them. Why? When one begins tasting the sweetness of the holy name, naturally he will do more and more. He cannot chant less. Haridāsa Ṭhākura demonstrated this. The divine departure of Śrīla Haridāsa Ṭhākura. Haridāsa Ṭhākura said, Prabhu, I have a feeling that soon you will be concluding your pastimes in this world, and I do not wish to witness that. So it is my prayer at your lotus feet, which I ask you to please fulfill, that I may give up my body while placing your lotus feet upon my chest, my eyes fixed on your lotus face, and my mouth uttering your name. Mahaprabhu said, What is this I am hearing? What is this I am hearing? I get happiness upon seeing my devotees, and if you leave, I will be very unhappy. Haridāsa replied, Oh, please, Lord, do not put me into illusion. For one who has crores and crores of kamadhenus, what is the loss? What is the loss if an insignificant ant dies? What loss does it make if an insignificant ant dies? You have crores and crores of devotees more superior than I. I am insignificant. So what is the loss to you if I leave? In this way he prayed to the Lord. The next morning, Mahaprabhu and the devotees arrived, and they began to chant Nam Sankirtan. Haridāsa Ṭhākura also chanted Harinam Kirtan following them. He placed Mahaprabhu's feet on his chest, and his vision was fixed on the Lord's lotus face, and chanting his names from his lips, he left his body. Then Chaitanya Dev took his transcendental body upon his shoulders, and while performing kirtan, he took him to the shore of the ocean and gave him samadhi, and gave orders to the ocean to retreat 6 wavelengths in that place. Wow, I never heard that before. The samadhi was given on the sands of the beach, and it was not destroyed or broken. Today they have a building with rooms in that very location surrounding the samadhi. After the samadhi ceremony, Mahaprabhu himself spread out his uttariya, his upper cloth, and begged for prasadam from the storekeepers, saying, Haridāsa Ṭhākura Mahotsaver Tore Prasada Magiye Bhikka Dehoto Amare. That's from Chaitanya Charitamrita, Antya-lila 1174. I am begging prasadam for a festival honoring the passing away of Haridāsa Ṭhākura. The Lord said, Please give me alms. Those who have been to the Jagannath Mandir have seen the size of their vessels. They offer massive vessels of Mahaprasad. Swarup Damodar and the other prominent devotees also collected and distributed Mahaprasad to all, and fully satisfied them. Even to this day, on the Tithi of Haridāsa Ṭhākura's Samadhi ceremony, without invitation, whoever goes there will be served Mahaprasad. Just like Mahaprabhu did not invite anyone for Haridāsa Ṭhākura's Samadhi ceremony, people came on their own accord and were served Mahaprasad. The same practice continues today. I've been there a few times for that. The unique blessing of Mahaprabhu. Wow. Mahaprabhu said these blessed words. All those who had Haridāsa Ṭhākura's darshan, all those who took part in the kirtans during his samadhi, and all who offered sand on his samadhi, or who took Mahaprasad on his occasion, they will all quickly attain Vaikuntha, and they will attain Vaikuntha and Krishna. These are the glories of Haridāsa. Mahaprabhu further stated, Kripa kori Krishna more diyachila sangha, Swatantra Krishner icha koila sangha bhanga. It's Antya-lila 1194. By Krishna's grace I got his association, and by the Lord's grace only I am deprived of his association now. It is my misfortune that I have lost his association. Haridāsa achilo prithivir shiromani, taha bina ratna shunya hoilo medhini. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Antya-lila 1197. Haridāsa Ṭhākura was the crown jewel on the head of this world. Without him, This world is now bereft of its valuable jewel. Now that he is gone, the world has lost a jewel. These are Mahaprabhu's words. Such are the glories of the Vaishnavas. Pride and ego never made their appearance in him. He was always in the mood of being humbler than a blade of grass. Trinad api. Vaishnav darshan is purifying. Chaitanya Dev would go to the sea for his daily bath, and from there he would go to visit Haridāsa Ṭhākura without fail. Every day he would go. What is the teaching he gave by this pastime? If he would take his bath after having darshan of Haridāsa Ṭhākura, then people would say that he went to take bath to become purified after meeting Haridāsa. In this way, he'd first purify himself and then visit Haridāsa Ṭhākura for darshan. Why? Because kone kone koroto koti ganga snan. Every moment Haridāsa is taking his bath in crores of Gangas, because he always chants the names of the Lord. But he is an independent Vaishnav. Therefore, I pray for his mercy. He was made the Acharya of the Yuga Dharma, Harinam Sankirtan. So he is called Namacharya Haridāsa Ṭhākura. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami said, Namami Haridāsam tang Chaitanyam tang chatat prabhum Sangstitam apiyan murtim Swanke kritva nanartaya. That's Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Antya Lila 1197. I offer my respectful obeisances to Haridāsa Ṭhākura and his master Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who took Haridāsa Ṭhākura in his arms and danced. Jai Shri Sachinandan Gaur Hari Ki Jai, Shri Namacharya Śrīla Haridāsa Ṭhākura Ki Jai, Śrīla Bhakti Vijñāna Bhāratī Gosvāmī Mahārāja Ki Jai, Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai, Shri Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Hari Bol, everybody. Jai. I'm sorry. For some reason today I wasn't able to. My mind wasn't as focused, so I wasn't able to read so nicely. But I hope. Anyways, hope you excuse that. And now we will hear today on this very auspicious day of the disappearance of Śrīla Bhakti Vijñāna Bhāratī Gosvāmī Mahārāja. I don't think it's any coincidence that he left on this day of Śrīla Haridāsa Ṭhākura's disappearance. So today, Kiśora Kṛṣṇa will glorify will offer his Puspanjali at the lotus feet of his Guru Mahārāja. Right, Kiśora? It's all yours.
Right. Good Haribol.
Is it possible to share your to open up your camera? Cool.
Yes.
Thanks.
Okay. How long do I have?
Half an hour? Is that enough time?
Yeah. I'll just speak what comes to heart.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't realize that this.
It's fine. I already knew it was going to be long.
I didn't look at it beforehand, and so if I would have known, I would have not sung as many kirtans at the beginning. But anyhow, I hope
Jai Haridāsa Ṭhākura.
Yeah, Jai Haridāsa Ṭhākura.
Jnanatimirand Oma Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Panchakalapatru Vashta Kripa Sindhu Vevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Namo Mahabharanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Gauratushe Namah. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sutidevi Pranamami Hari Pre Bhaktya Vihina Paradalake Kshipshashtakama Tarangamadye Kripa Maitam Sharanam Prapana Brinde Namaste Charanarvind. Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Vande Bhakti Vinodam Shri Gaura Shakti Sarupakam Bhakti Shastraga Samrajam Radharasa Siddhanidam Namami Haridāsam Tam Namami Haridāsam Tam Namami Haridāsam Tam Namami Haridāsam. Alrighty. So first of all, offering my spoken incense at the lotus feet of my most revered Krishna Mantra Gurudev Shri Srimad Bhakti Vijñāna Bhāratī Gosvāmī Mahārāja. Hey Guru Mahārāja, I pray for your kripa that I may speak on your glories. Just as Dhruva Mahārāja once desired to glorify Lord Narayan, but couldn't, Lord Narayan gave his blessings so that Dhruva Mahārāja could speak. Similarly, O Gurudev, I am offering my obeisances at your feet and begging for mercy that I can properly glorify you. Now I offer my obeisances on the lotus feet of my Harinam Gurudev, Sri Srimad Bhakti Vijñāna Gosvāmī Mahārāja Śrīla Gurudev, and I pray that I can glorify your name, Guru Mahārāja. O Gurudev, I'm praying that I can glorify your dear friend, Guru Mahārāja. And I'm praying at the feet of Śrīla Namacharya Haridāsa Ṭhākura, Bhakti Vijñāna Ṭhākura, and A.C. Bhakti Vijñāna Prabhu. So, I'm not sure what exactly to speak. I guess I should begin on Guru Mahārāja's life. So Śrīla Guru Mahārāja, she took his birth on Shāna Day in Sitarampur in Bengal, in a Brahmin family. Guru Mahārāja, he made his appearance on Shāna Day. This day, Lord Vishnu, he takes his rest and he sleeps for 4 months, and then he wakes up on Uttana Kadashi. On Shāna Kadashi, Guru Mahārāja appeared, and on Uttana Kadashi, 4 months later, Param Guru Mahārāja, Shri Srimad Bhakti Vijñāna Gosvāmī Mahārāja appeared. So, Guru Mahārāja appeared in a Brahmin family. And since his very childhood, when Guru Mahārāja was given many Brahminical samskaras. Very, very important Brahminical samskars. Guru Mahārāja remembers that on the day of his Upanayanam samskar, of his accepting the Brahmin thread, he was told, just continue saying Om Badram. Just repeat, say yes, yes, yes. When I came to the mantra, I will not take rest during the day, Guru Mahārāja objected. How can I say I will not take rest during the day? Right now I'm a child, so I will not take rest. But what happens at a later date if I get sick? I cannot just casually say, oh yes, I will do in front of all these Brahmins, in front of Agni Dev and everything. I cannot do. And so the Brahmin priest just told him, okay, you just say, hey, this mantra I will do according to my ability. And then something else came up, and Guru Mahārāja said, how can I do that properly? And the priest said, okay, you do this. So, the feast was kind of delayed there. But all the seniors there, they applauded Guru Mahārāja. Oh, very good. You're doing this properly. You're not taking it lightly. So, Guru Mahārāja, having some Brahminical samskars coming from a caste Brahmin family. In India, the caste Brahmins, they still have this mentality of, let's not associate with the Shudras at all. Keep the Kshatriyas, okay, maybe. Vaishyas far away, Shudras even less. So Guru Mahārāja, when he came to the mat, and he still had some of that. He was associating there with Param Guru Mahārāja. But he was so much inspired by Param Guru Mahārāja, by Param Guru Mahārāja's Harikta, that Guru Mahārāja joined in Gauriya Mat, Sri Chaitanya Gauriya Mat. And Guru Mahārāja has described that for 11 years, my most revered divine master, Param Guru Mahārāja, catered to my needs, so-called needs, Guru Mahārāja says. Guru Mahārāja, he was very adamant about only accepting prasad from Brahmin born, from caste Brahmin, Han Pujaris. So Param Guru Mahārāja, he arranged that Brahmin born devotee, he would do all the offerings and serve Guru Mahārāja Prasadam. And Guru Mahārāja would associate with only those devotees who are with Brahmins. But over the time, Guru Mahārāja began to realize these are all Vaishnavas. Vaishnavas have no caste. That. Guru Mahārāja began to realize these are all Vaishnavas. I should not be thinking like this. And Guru Mahārāja, she had this thing that he would only take one portion of prasad with a leaf, something like this, and then he would disregard the rest. Otherwise, it would be remnant, jishta. Over time, Guru Mahārāja stopped this as well, because Guru Mahārāja said, "This is Krishna Prasadam. How can I say that this is remnant? This is Krishna Prasadam." Also, Guru Mahārāja, according to his Brahmin samskars, he never set foot on any oil merchant's land. Never. Because his oil merchant has to deal with oil. It's very contaminating. So Guru Mahārāja would avoid that. So one day, the Gaurimat devotees, they're invited to the house of this one rich person who was serving prasadam there. And Guru Mahārāja said, "I'm not feeling well. I don't think I can go." But realizing this, Param Guru Mahārāja looked at him and said, "We have heard from the Kirtan of Bhakti Vijñāna Ṭhākura, O Prabhu, everything in this world belongs to you. Everything in this world belongs to you. Everything. So how can I say that I will not go to another person's place when even that place does not belong to them?" So then, understanding the import of Param Guru Mahārāja's words, Guru Mahārāja went there. Guru Mahārāja, there's not much I can speak. Right? Can't. Not much is coming in my mind. One time, I'm with Guru Mahārāja was with Bhakti Gosvāmī Mahārāja, and Bhakti Gosvāmī Mahārāja was mixing all his prasadam together. Then he was taking it, and Guru Mahārāja asked Gosvāmī Mahārāja, "Śrīla Mahārāja, what are you doing? If you don't, Śrīla Mahārāja, what are you doing, Mahārāja? If you mix it all together, you won't be able to have the original taste." And Gosvāmī Mahārāja said, "And why should I give his tongue sense gratification?" Guru Mahārāja remembers this clearly.
And in that past time, did he? Am I remembering something else, or is it this one that he didn't want to say that I'll give honor to this prasad and disregard that prasad, but like all prasad is equal. It's not like the sweet is better than the bitter melon and like that, right?
Yeah. Bhakti Gosvāmī Mahārāja was like that.
He didn't want to discriminate. That's the word. Discriminate between.
Yeah, he didn't want to discriminate. Yeah, Gosvāmī Mahārāja was very strict on that all prasadam is equal. But if someone would complain, "Oh, prasadam was not too nice, was also not so nice today," Gosvāmī Mahārāja would say, "What? Immediately call the cook. I will punish him. He's not doing his service properly." Gosvāmī Mahārāja, it wasn't lip service. He would actually punish him. He said, "You fast. You're not cooking for Ṭhākurji properly. You fast." So that was Gosvāmī Mahārāja's mood. And Guru Mahārāja, she also associated with Bhakti Saraswati Prabhupada's cook, Kiśora Kṛṣṇa Prabhu. Remembers that one time Guru Mahārāja was cooking and he forgot if he added salt or not to the food. And he asked Kṛṣṇa Prabhu, and Kṛṣṇa Prabhu said, "I can tell by the steam rising if there's salt or not." And Kṛṣṇa Prabhu saw and said, "There is no, you have not put salt." And so Guru Mahārāja put salt. Yes, and Kṛṣṇa Prabhu, he taught Guru Mahārāja many things about cooking and all these things. So I think I'll just speak on my memories. I didn't really want to speak on my memories of Guru Mahārāja, but there's nothing else is coming to mind, so I'll just speak on my memories. Remember outside. I remember at where Guru Mahārāja Samadhi is now. I was outside there taking darshan of the deities. I believe their names are Radha Madhava and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu there. When I was praying at their feet, before I entered the room to take Diksha, I was praying at their feet. And you please give your blessings. And then Nityananda Prabhu, Gauranga Mahaprabhu, Radha Madhava, you please give your blessings. That everything will go well, and that Guru Mahārāja will not reject me. And then I entered the room. And in the room was Guru Mahārāja was there on his bed, and Tulsi Devi was there. Tulsi Devi was there by the window. Tulsi plant, Tulsi Devi, Vrinda Devi. And Guru Mahārāja was there sitting on his bed. And in the room was Madhav Priya Prabhu, who was translating. Sundar Gopal Prabhu, I believe Sundar Gopal Prabhu. And my father was also there. They invited my father, my biological father, Mother Kaliya Krishna Prabhu.
What year was this?
This was 2017, March 2nd, Thursday. Purushottam Das Ṭhākura's Avirbhav. Purushottam Das Ṭhākura. And so is us four, plus Tulsi Devi. And I came forward. And the first words Guru Mahārāja offered obeisances. The first words that Guru Mahārāja asked me, why do you want to take Diksha? And the first thought that came in my head was, Gurudev is speaking in English. So I thought quickly, what do I tell Gurudev? Then I was thinking, wait, why do I want to take Diksha? Because I want to serve Shri Radha Krishna. And Madhav Priya Prabhu was translating it, and Madhav Priya was saying, he says he wants to serve Bhagavan. And Guru Mahārāja said, Acha. And so Guru Mahārāja began asking questions like, do you know what is the meaning of Diksha? Do you know what is Diksha? No, I don't know, Gurudev. And Gurudev explained it means to connect the jiva back with Krishna. Gurudev gave very nice explanation, but my memory is not very well on that. Gurudev gave very nice explanation on what is Diksha. And then Madhav Priya Prabhu was asking me various questions. One of the questions I remember very clearly was, do you chant with quality or with quantity? What do you chant? How do you chant? Do you chant with quality or with quantity? I said, both. And Madhav Priya Prabhu was telling Gurudev, if he is saying both, and Gurudev said, Gurudev giggled and said, no. And Madhav Priya Prabhu translates saying, Śrīla Mahārāja is saying that really you don't know so many things, and that quality is more important than quantity. And really, Gurudev was like this. Gurudev was more about quality. And Gurudev always specified Harinam. So many things Gurudev said on Harinam. Gurudev one time during Purushottam Brat many years ago, he was telling Bhakti Kingar Damodar Maharaj, when I was a young brahmachari, we didn't have all these vrats and all these things. But what I know is that you can attain all success by simply chanting Harinam and Vaishnava Seva. And elsewhere, Gurudev, he once spoke on this verse, Saru Sangha Sarva Shastra Koi, Lava Matra Saru Sangha Sarva Siddhi Hoy. Just a moment's association with a pure devotee, just an 11th second association with a pure devotee, all success is attained. And Gurudev said, what is the meaning of Sarva? Sarva Siddhi Hoy. Sarva means all, but actually Sarva is also a name of Krishna. You'll find that explanation in Vishnu Sahasranam. So the real meaning of Sarva Siddhi Hoy means Krishna Siddhi Hoy, all perfection in Krishna consciousness. And so Gurudev chastised me. The first thing that happened actually when I came into the room after offering pranam, Gurudev said, remove your upper cloth. I want to see if you put tilak all over your body. And so I removed my chadar. I just had a chadar on. And Gurudev saw that at my tilak marks on my arms, the upper tilak marks were kind of low. And Gurudev said, this is not correct. These should be up here. So Trivikram was down, was further down where Madhusudan was, and Rishikesh was down where Sridhar was. And Gurudev said no. So after explaining what is Diksha, and what is explaining meaning that one should serve Harinam attentively, Madhapriya Prabhu asked, from who did you take Harinam? I said, Śrīla Bhakti Vijñāna Gosvāmī Mahārāja. And Madhapriya Prabhu said, okay, Gurudev. Okay, Gurudev. And so Gurudev then told me that Gurudev, he asked me then, what is your name? I got kind of mixed up whether this happened before or after Gurudev imparted the mantras. I'll tell it in this way. Gurudev asked me, what is your name? I said, Kiśora Kṛṣṇa Das. And Gurudev asked, don't you have a Karmi name? I said, and my father said, he took Harinam from Śrīla Mahārāja, my biological father, Kiśora Kṛṣṇa Prabhu. He said, he took Harinam from Śrīla Mahārāja. And Madhapriya Prabhu, who asked, okay, but what is your legal name? Farnar. Farnar. And then they told Gurudev, and then Gurudev said, farmer? No, Farnar. Farnar. And Gurudev said, Acha. So now this Farnar is gone. Now you have no connection with this Farnar. Now you have no connection with your ancestors. Now I am your father, and this mantra is your mother. You have no connection with your ancestors. Now you're in the Brahma Sampradaya, in the Guru Parampara. Now I am your father, and this mantra is your mother. And then after that, Gurudev imparted the mantra. I remember how Gurudev would chant very intensely with lots of Shakti. Gurudev imparted the mantra. Om Bhur Bhuva Swa. Then you could feel everything changing as Gurudev was chanting the mantra. So much Shakti was going in there. And Gurudev spoke it in the right ear. The right ear Gurudev spoke. So I was facing north, and Gurudev was chanting in my ear. I still remember how Gurudev would chant the last word of mantra. Prachodayat. Very beautifully Gurudev would chant the mantra. And afterwards, I offered pranam to Gurudev. I came out for the yajna. Tapasri Mahārāja and Nemi Mahārāja did the yajna. And afterwards,
You were completely alone? Like you took by yourself? Like were there anybody else with you?
No, it was just me. It was just me who took Diksha that day.
Okay.
Afterwards, and after the yajna, I came back into Gurudev's room, offered pranam, and I got a little sweet ball. Gurudev was giving out sweet prasadam. Yeah. Gurudev was very intense. It was very intense when Gurudev would give prasadam. And after Harikatha, you would go and Gurudev would give a sweet. Do you remember, Prabhu? Gurudev would always give a sweet eat at the end of his class. And
I remember one time in Jagannath Puri, yeah, like it was almost like a vow that he had. Like he had to give a sweet. And I remember one time at the end of his class, somebody. Sorry. I remember one time at the end of class. Sorry, my mind got distracted. At the end of class, there was no sweet. Like they forgot to bring like whoever was supposed to bring the sweet didn't bring it, and it was late because his class would end really late at night, and so then we just like they sent somebody out to get Jagannath Mahaprasad, and so they went all the way to Jagannath Mandir, and we all sat there. We did kirtan. And it went on for a really long time. And then finally after a while, somebody came back with Jagannath Mahaprasad and he gave the sweet. But it was like, by that time, it was super late at night. It was like past 9:30 or something like that. And but that was how serious he was about, like he had to give.
He was very serious. Gurudev was very serious about that.
And nobody, it was impossible to go to have darshan of him and not come outside of his room with prasad. Like it
Yeah.
was his vow that anybody who'd come to see him, he'd give two types of prasad. He'd give his Harikatha and he would give some Mahaprasad. Yeah.
He was always very sweet. He'd always be either smiling or he would be grave. Usually Gurudev was very grave, but he was also very affectionate. Yes, one devotee, he asked Gurudev once, like, you're so intense when you're giving the prasadam. What is it that you're doing? And Gurudev said, I'm taking away anarthas and giving prasadam. Taking away anarthas and giving mercy.
That was
So-
Shamarani Mataji who asked that, right?
Really?
I don't know. I think she once asked him that question about what's the meaning. Actually, she asked, what's the significance of your giving Mahaprasad? And yeah, I guess he said something like that also, yeah.
Yeah. So after taking the mantras, I offered pranam to Gurudev, I left. And it wasn't until like the evening that a friend of mine reminded me, hey, you didn't ask for bhiksha? Didn't you go out asking for donations? And that was not on my mind at all. It's like, oh, yeah, I was supposed to do that. So I came back to the evening class, which I was gonna go, obviously. And after Gurudev's finished speaking Harikatha or completed his Harikatha, I went around with my chadar and saying, Dakshin for Gurudev, Dakshin for Gurudev. I could have chanted them. Yeah, I asked Nimri Maharaj what were the mantras, but as he was telling them, I told Nimri Maharaj, can't I just say Dakshin for Gurudev? And Nimri Maharaj said, yeah, you can do that. So I just went around to everyone, Dakshin for Gurudev, Dakshin for Gurudev. And I remember one godbrother of mine was there and said, who did you take Diksha from? And I said, Gurudev. Oh, okay. You're my godbrother. Welcome to the family. And then after taking Diksha from everyone, I went into the room with Sundar Gopal Prabhu. Guru Mahārāja's Sevak, Gurudev Sevak Sundar Gopal Prabhu was there. And that time, Gurudev was lying down on his bed, and Sundar Gopal Prabhu just told me, just put all the money there on his bed. And as Gurudev was lying down, I put all the money there, all the rupees. And then I asked Sundar Gopal Prabhu, may I ask two questions? I didn't say two, I just asked, can I ask some question? And Sundar Gopal Prabhu said, yes, you can do. First one is controversial. First one, I already know you won't really agree with the answer, but I accept Gurudev's answer wholeheartedly. The first question I asked Gurudev was, can I chant the Panchatattva mantra in between my rounds? And Gurudev said, what do you mean? In chanting 108 times the Panchatattva mantra on your beads? And I said, no. I meant just like in between. And Gurudev said, if you want to do this, you can do this. If you don't want to do this, you also don't have to do this.
Gurudev said the similar thing, didn't he? He said it's not necessary, but yes, okay. Like it's no harm, but like it's not really necessary.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a rule that you have to chant.
Yeah. And the last question I asked Gurudev was, how can I please you? I think his answer was very important for me, especially. And Gurudev said, I asked him, how can I please you? And Gurudev was there, thought for a second, and then he spoke, by chanting your rounds attentively, by listening to your rounds, by listening to the mantra, by chanting your rounds attentively, by concentrating and being focused and not rushing, just listening to the mantra. Those were Gurudev's words. And yeah, it's no coincidence that he entered Nitya Leela on Haridāsa Ṭhākura's disappearance day. Gurudev was very firm on chanting Harinam attentively, on giving emphasis to Harinam. Gurudev, I've mentioned already how Gurudev said that all success can be attained by chanting Harinam in the association of pure Vaishnavas. And Tulsi Devi also, Gurudev also had a very special relationship with Tulsi Devi, with Vrinda Devi. Often Gurudev would chant every day, during class time, Gurudev would chant Bhaktya Vihino Aparadulukke Shipshtashta Kamadi Tarangamadi Kripamaikam Sharanam Prapana Rinde Namaste Charanaravindam. Gurudev would always make it a point to chant Vrinde Namaste Charanaravindam. And sometimes Gurudev would chant, if he didn't chant that shlok, Gurudev would chant Prasabilaso Vajishta Vrinda Vane Thori Shangri Saroja Sevya Labya Chambunsam Kribai Tabaiva Vrinde Namaste Charanaravindam. Which in that shlok, Gurudev is Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur is saying in that, O Vrindadevi, to one who wants to behold the Rasa Leela, to attain service of Radha Krishna and Vrindavan, you award that to him. So I offer pranam unto you, O Vrindadevi. And yeah. So I think I'll just end with one thing that I really wanted to say at the end of this as class, or not class, I shouldn't even call it that. On Gurudev's Harinam book. So in Gaudiya Math and the other Gaudiya Maths, they have this thing of Yam Kirtan, that during Kartik they chant and one shlok of the Shikshashtakam, followed by Kirtan of Bhakti Vinod Thakur about that naam, about that verse, and then a Leela Kirtan that's about the Ashtakalayala Leela. And so different acharyas have entered Nitya Leela during that time of the specific Ashtakalayala Leela of Radha and Krishna. So Gurudev departed at noon, and during noon, Gurudev departed at noon at like 12:25, something like that. And the corresponding verse for that is Na dhanam, na janam, na sundarim, kavitam va jagarisha kamaye, mama janmani janmaneshware, bhavatat bhaktirahai tukitoye. O Jagadish, I desire neither wealth nor followers, nor the gorgeous promises of the Vedic hymns. My only prayer is that bhakti, birth after birth, I may have causeless devotion. I to keep bhakti to you, the Lord of my life. And really, Gurudev emphasized that in the fact that Gurudev was the very personification of that verse. Gurudev didn't want to take disciples. He didn't want wealth. He didn't want followers. He didn't want to be acharya. No, Gurudev didn't want any of that. 38 years passed after Param Guru Maharaj entered Nitya Leela, and Gurudev still didn't want to take disciples. But the devotees over the years kept telling him, you should, Maharaj, you should give out Kripa. And Gurudev said, okay, fine. But really, Gurudev's mood was just Harinam. I mean, Bhakti Kinkar Damodar Maharaj, she asked Gurudev once like, Maharaj, don't you want at least one sevak to take care of you? And Gurudev said, Krishna is my maintainer. So that is the verse, and I wanted to read the Leela Kirtan, Bhakti Vinod Thakur. Hold on. It corresponds during noontime. During Gurudev entered Nitya Leela during the noon pastimes. At that time, Radha and Krishna, they're forming their noon pastimes in Radhakund. Those pastimes are very exalted. They're not performed at any other place at any other time. Like only at noon during Radhakund, at Radhakund, or the pastimes of Radha and Krishna performed there. So they're very special pastimes. Generally, we say, that the Ras Leela is the highest pastime. But there are some pastimes here at Radhakund that are extremely profound. Bhakti Vinod Thakur writes here, Radha Kunde Sumilana Vikaradi Vibhushana Vamyot Kanta Mugdha Bhavalila Sambhaka Narmati Riti Dholakela Vam Shiriti Madhupana Surya Puja Kela. I remember Radha and Krishna as they meet in Radhakund, decorated by their ecstatic responses, going through the gamut of emotions as Radha resists Krishna's eager advances. They come together, flirt, swing. Radha and the Sakhi steal Krishna's flute. They drink honey, and then Radha goes to worship the sun god. Jala Kela Vanyashana Chala Supti Vyantana Bahu Lila Nande Duvijane Parijana Suveshtita Radha Krishna Susevita Madhyana Kalate Smarimane. They play in the water, have a picnic in the woods, pretend to sleep, and wander through the forest, enjoying its beauty. They engage in these and many other joyous pastimes, all the while surrounded and served by their intimate associates. So, during this time, Gurudev entered Nitya Leela, the Radhakund Leela of Radha and Krishna. Yeah. I don't think many devotees talk about it, so I wanted to mention that. Yeah, and during that time, Mahaprabhu in his Ashtaka Leela, he's doing Sankirtan with all his associates at noon. And Haridāsa Ṭhākura was there. I wanted to mention that Gurudev appeared in a Brahmin family and had Gurudev himself, he tells, I'm not saying Gurudev is saying that he had some caste consciousness. But we see here on Haridāsa Ṭhākura appeared in a Yavana family. Gurudev chose this day out of all days to enter Nitya Leela, the Disappearance day of Śrīla Haridāsa Ṭhākura. And Haridāsa Ṭhākura was emphasized so many times by so many acharyas and so many Vaishnavas and so many associates of Mahaprabhu that Haridāsa Ṭhākura is a Vaishnava. Vaishnavas have no caste. He is simply a Vaishnava and a very important Vaishnava. And Gurudev chose that day to enter Nitya Leela. I don't know how to conclude this. I simply pray at the feet of my Gurudev and all the Vaishnavas. If I've committed any offense, I beg forgiveness at their feet. And I pray for their mercy that I can become a real disciple of my Gurudev, that I can chant Harinam attentively, serve the Vaishnavas, become a real disciple of my Gurudevs, become a real Saraswati Guru Vaishnava, and serve Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Radha Pandit, Nityananda Prabhu, Radha Krishna. Yeah. Pancha Kalpatarubhashta Kripasindhuvevacha Patitanam Pavnebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. And my last words are any corrections? Anything to add?
No, that was beautiful, Kiśora. That was a very nice offering. Would you like to do Jai Dwani now?
Sure. I can do Jai Dwani.
Yeah, we got into Jai Dwani. Yeah.
Jai Savrika Shishi Gurga Uranga Gan Harvika Girid Hari Radha Vinod Bihari Radha Nainath Radharaman Bihari Shishi Radha Krishna Jiv Ki Jai. Jai Nitya Leela Pravishtam Vishnu Par Paramahams Sabri Vrajagacharya Varya Astotrashta Shishaman Bhakti Vijñāna Bhāratī Gosvāmī Guru Mahārāja Ki Jai. Jai Nitya Leela Pravishtam Vishnu Par Paramahams Sabri Vrajagacharya Varya Astotrashta Shishaman Bhakti Vijñāna Śrīla Narayana Gosvāmī Mahārāja Pari Pavan Gurudev Ki Jai. Jai Nitya Leela Pravishtam Vishnu Par Stotrashta Shishaman Bhakti Vijñāna Vaman Gosvāmī Mahārāja Ki Jai. Jai Nitya Leela Pravishtam Vishnu Par Stotrashta Shishaman Bhakti Vijñāna Vaman Gosvāmī Mahārāja Ki Jai. Jai Nitya Leela Pravishtam Vishnu Par Stotrashta Shishaman A.C. Bhakti Vijñāna Swami Gosvāmī Mahārāja Śrīla Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Nitya Leela Pravishtam Vishnu Par Stotrashta Shishaman Bhakti Dayitamanu Gosvāmī Param Guru Mahārāja Ki Jai. Jai Nitya Leela Pravishtam Vishnu Par Stotrashta Shishaman Bhakti Pragyan Kiśora Kṛṣṇa Prabhu Param Gurudev Ki Jai. Jai Nitya Leela Pravishtam Vishnu Par Stotrashta Shishaman Jagar Guru Śrīla Varshabhana Abhidayita Das Bhakti Saran Saraswati Gosvāmī Ṭhākura Prabhupada Ki Jai. Mahaparam Bhagavad Parapar Paramhamsa Shishamar Gaur Kiśora Das Bhakti Mahārāja Ki Jai. Saptam Gosvāmi Śrīla Sachidananda Bhakti Vijñāna Ṭhākura Mahārāja Ki Jai. Vaishnav Sarvoma Śrīla Jagannath Das Bhakti Mahārāja Ki Jai. Gurvidan Acharya Śrīla Baladev Vibhushan Prabhu Ki Jai. Mahamohaparidhyaya Raskashan Mani Śrīla Vishnu Chakravarti Ṭhākura Par Ki Jai. Śrīla Rasikananda Murari Prabhu Ki Jai. Śrīla Ramchandra Kabiraj Ki Jai. Śrīla Chandas Ṭhākura Ki Jai.
Okay, it looks like he got cut off. So I'll continue. Jai Śrīla Haridāsa Ṭhākura ki jai, jai Śrīla Namacharya Śrīla Haridāsa Ṭhākura ki jai, prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Shiksheta Mandala Gora Mandala Vraja Mandala Mathura Vrindavan Dham ki jai, Sarva Abhishta Pradata Giriraj Maharaj ki jai, Shri Radha Kunda Shama Kunda ki jai, Shri Yamuna Devi Ganga Devi ki jai, Shri Tulsi Maharani Vrinda Devi ki jai, Shri Bhakti Devi ki jai, Shri Purnamasi Yogamaya ki jai, Shri Gopeshwar Mahadev ki jai. Jai Śrīla Haridāsa Ṭhākura ki jai, Namacharya Śrīla Haridāsa Ṭhākura ki jai, Tadiya Shubha Tirabhav ki jai, Haridāsa Ṭhākura Samadhi ki jai. Mahaprabhu's festival of Haridāsa Ṭhākura Samadhi ki jai. Jai Śrīla Bhakti Vijñāna Bhāratī Gosvāmī Mahārāja ki jai, Tadiya Shubha Tirabhav ki jai. Śrīla Bhakti Daita Madhava Gosvāmī Mahārāja ki jai, Swaparikara Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai. Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Samagata Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Shri Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bo. Vrindai Tulsi Devai, Priyai Kiśora Kṛṣṇa Bhakti Pradadevi, Sattvatai Namo Namaha. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya vacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Dandavat pranams, everybody. So, yeah, right now I am going, they're actually starting the program right now. I'm supposed to start kirtan at 9 o'clock in the morning. It's 9:03 right now, but I think it's okay. Anyways, I'm going to head out to Śrīla Bhakti Vijñāna Bhāratī Gosvāmī Mahārāja Samadhi, and maybe I might go live. I'll see what my internet's like there. Last time when I tried to go live, my internet wasn't very good, but if it's working, then yeah, I'll go live, and then you can have darshan of his samadhi, and yeah. All right, so thank you so much for for being here. And tomorrow, because yesterday on Śrīla Bhakti Vijñāna Thakur's day, I didn't feel complete, like I felt like we needed more glorification of Śrīla Bhakti Vijñāna Thakur. And so tomorrow I'm going to, I don't know what we'll read, but we'll read maybe some more glorifications of maybe an article by Śrīla Bhakti Vijñāna Thakur, and then the day after tomorrow we will begin our program again of Chaitanya Bhagavat. We'll continue with our Chaitanya Bhagavat reading. We're getting close to the end of the Adi Kanda now. So all right, thank you so much for joining. Jai Shri Radhe, Hare Krishna. Let me just see. Hari Bol Champak Didi, Nri Hari Prabhu, Bhavatarani Mataji, Shubhananda Prabhu, and Sudevi Didi, yes, Hari Bol. And Nanda Kiśora Prabhu, Vidya Lalasa Didi, and Sudevi Didi, Govinda Saha, Ganga Mataji, Raseshwari Mataji, Bangi Sofo, yeah, Hari Bol everybody, Dandavat pranams. Oh, no worries, Kiśora. Alright, Hari Bol. Okay, I'm gonna end the video now. Jai Shri Radhe. So yeah, maybe you can see on my page on Facebook. I'll be soon then.